Welcome to the Church Explained podcast, a conversation to grow your leadership and build your church. But there is something about that perspective. You've mentioned that a couple of times, having perspective.
Yeah.
And I remember when I started ministry a few years back, someone said to me, you know, you'll hit the wall probably every 7 years. Either you or your church will go through something.
Yeah.
But you have to get through the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about that, knowing, hey, you know, if there's young leaders listening, hey, you may hit the wall, but hey, it's not the end of the world.
No.
Get up and go again and see what God's going to do in your life. And that's that stories of come back and hope again.
And I think it fits, you know, even our journey, you know. Almost every 7th year, you know, we've seen somebody mess up somehow, a moral failure or something that has been really, really tough to deal with. But we church just keep trucking on, you know, and we keep on going.
I like it.
And you know, last man standing is a good thing, you know. And I want to finish. I mean, the older I get, the more I am in that type of inner conversation. I want to finish the race.
Great.
Finish it strong. And we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah. And I just love that thought around empathy and pouring hope in. And it just reminds me of some of the Apostle Paul's words where he says, encourage one another daily.
Yeah.
And that word encourage meaning to put courage in. And, you know, like to give hope. And, you know, just think that we need more of that. You know, putting the courage in. You know, it's not just the arm around the shoulder to say here. You know, it's kind of like you know, actually no, we're in this together. We can get through this. We can push through this. That becomes the powerful side of it.
Another very practical tip is, well, I've never, during 37 years, you can't find an angry email or a text from me, you know, yelling at a coworker, or I'm not angry so much at all, but sometimes you can write something in anger, send it away, and you don't know where you're going to find that email or that text. So don't go there. Go for a walk, go to the gym, cool down, talk to someone. Don't go there, because you never know where you're going to find that. You know what I mean? It's like very practical. And it's like, I wrote that once. I was so mad. Maybe you got all the right to be mad. That's one thing. But you deal with things face to face. You deal with things face to face.
Funny you should say that. I've been listening to an Audible book on, I think it's Dallas Willard, Transformation of the Heart. Don't know if you've come across that one. But he was sharing the story in there about one of the pastor. And his staff member done something wrong on a Sunday morning, and you know, they went out to the back, and he really laid into him, but he didn't realise he still had his mic on. Back in the day. And he says suddenly that pastor felt the need to move on from his position.
To move to another.
Because everybody heard in the auditorium,
Planet,
you know what I mean? He was lambasting him and going for it.
Exposed.
But and his point was, if he does that in private, you know, he was caught out that time, but how often does he do that? And it's something about keeping accountability. If we were to think about that for a second, thinking of coaching and mentoring, what do you think that fits in the sense of having that in our lives as we think of leadership and lasting the long haul?
I think it's important to ask a question again. It's like asking, if I was mentoring you, how can I help you? You tell me how I can help you. Oh, I don't know. Well, then you come back, because, you know, I can help you with 1,000 things, but what do you need? That's so important.
Ask the right questions.
Ask the right questions.
Well, credibility is the foundation of leadership. So I think even when you mentor others, you know, you got to bite that bullet too, you know, somehow. Because if I were coaching somebody in athletics, they want to know. I mean, you're in long jump or pole jumping or whatever. You know, it's like, you know, if you start your, you know, just put your feet, you know, just half an inch or 30 centimeters back, and you're gonna jump higher or longer or whatever, you know, wouldn't you want to know that? So I think being real with people is also something that, I mean, clarity is kind. And I think it's kindness, you know, being clear, but also loving in that. So and then you can go deeper and deeper and carve out, you know, you can dig for that gold, you know. And at least I would.
Yeah.
I would rather have somebody who was more like a straight shooter and telling me, "Hey, PJ, you gotta get this together."
Yeah.
Because you'll become better. I would work on that.
Yeah.
So, but we know. Usually, we know when people are what kind of position they come from when they help us or coach us or just gonna bring out the best in me.
Yeah. And that's the key, really, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, when just thinking about obviously coaching, mentoring, and you mentioned there, you know, and Ulrica, you say ask questions, and then PJ, you're like, I want a straight shooter. You know, you use the example of the long jump, like 30 centimeters or whatever. How do you get to a place?
It's not very long, that.
No, exactly. You know, but how do you get to that place where you understand this is the kind of person that I'm leading? I'm coaching, I'm mentoring. This is a person who wants me just to say it as it is, or this is a person who wants me to, you know, work in a different way.
Well, first of all, I don't do counseling too much, so Ulrica is much better at that than me. But because I'm more the kind of admit it, quit it, forget it type of guy, and move on. And I have a very bad memory, so I'm very happy.
You remember
with
me?
I'm usually happy with people because I don't remember, you know, what's been going on. So I kind of move on very quickly. But I think eventually you'll find that, and like-minded people, they kind of attract each other. So if there's somebody that needs another type of mentoring in our team, you know, they usually go to Ulrica or one of my campus pastors or so on. Which are they're better than on that than I am. But I also think that there are levels of leadership where they don't have the time to kind of mess around, so they need a little more straight. I was out having a walk a couple of years ago with some pastors, and if I mentioned their names, and I won't do that, everybody would know on what kind of level it was. And one of them were mentoring a younger guy, and he said, when we were walking towards a restaurant, he said, "What was that about?" And the younger guy said, "Well, I don't really know what you mean." "You know," said the older guy. And the younger guy immediately said, "I'm so sorry, sir, it won't happen again." And it was just a cultural thing in the conversation we had at a round table.
Wow.
And he picked it up immediately, and he approached it direct, and the younger guy tried to kind of ease his way, cover
pride,
ease his way.
Pride gets in,
But then he just understood this is not the game we're playing here. And he kind of shifted, and the older guy. The follow-up was this: "Oh, so did you watch the game yesterday?" So he didn't kind of cling on to something, just rubbing it in and so on. And I think if we can do that, you know, be a little more, you know, direct, but then also a little more easy. This is not a big deal.
No.
But let's move on. And we're not there to blame or shame each other.
Very good.
We're there to we're these champions, you know.
But to answer your question in another way, it could be people going through things, and I also right now actually studying some psychology to be even a better pastor. And it's interesting to see if someone really needs help, they can meet me or some other in our pastoral team and say, hey, and I've learned so much in this ordinary psychology education that I've been giving, that you have to have framework. Okay, we're going to see each other for maybe 5 times, at the most 10 times. It's 45 minutes every time. It's not like you can text me in the middle of the night and I'll be there. Sure. It's a framework for I'm going to last longer than 57, and so are you. And also it's like you have to tell me, what do you want me to help you with? So can't you see? No, you know. Try to help, and if
can I take the guesswork out?
No, I can't guess you. I can't read your mind. God can, but and if it's too hard, I'm giving you away to other people, or you know.
I think sometimes we over spiritualize things too, you know, and that's why everything just becomes fluffy and round.
Yeah.
And people, the result is that people stay in their issue or in the problem instead of moving on. And we want to help people move on.
Yeah.
But I was preaching, I think last weekend on the topic of Thomas. You know, everybody's calling him the doubter. You know.
Yeah, of course.
But Scripture doesn't do that.
No.
Not even Jesus did it.
No.
But somebody put that label on him.
Yeah.
And but nobody put the label on Peter as Peter the
denier.
The denier. Now we're going to read about the denier.
Or the angry man.
No, he's the rock.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so and I want people to come out of that type of labeling. You know. There's more to us, and there's more leadership in us than we think, and there's more qualities than we think, and we're digging for gold.
Yeah, definitely. And people have got it in them. And I think just picking up on some of the stuff you've said, Ulrica, I mean, I've done some training regarding coaching, leadership coaching. Some of the same stuff.
Shameless plug that
Shameless plug.
Dave offers coaching people.
But how about a coach?
Yeah.
You better sign up today.
But yeah, sign up today. Especially this guy. But there is something about creating a container for a conversation. And like when leaders are having conversation with people to try and train them and develop them, it's about setting those boundaries. You know, one of the things you've said there, PJ, is about clear. You know, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. Brené Brown quote. But I think there's something powerful in just having that container. And that's where the transformation takes place. To be clear with people, hey, we've got a good hour together. What do you want to do in this hour? And there's something powerful about that in leadership development as well. It is a plug, but it's a good plug because what a great thing it is to help people just get those new insights.
No, and just thinking on church and thinking on leading people and leading other people. What do you guys do in terms of regarding training and releasing and developing people into leadership positions? You're a multi-campus church, campus pastors. So how does that look?
Well, that is an interesting topic, you know, because I think I'm a firm believer in on-the-job training. So I think, you know, because that means that you will, you need to expect problems. And that is a way, I mean, it is the way Jesus combined on-the-job training and his vocational, more classroom type of setting.
The apprentice model.
I think I love that model. And so it's the classic thing, I would say, that you have leadership gatherings, you know, regular leadership gatherings. You work on leadership culture. Probably one of the things we do, you got a playbook for each position in church. So it's easy to come in, but also easy to understand what you're supposed to do. And then some kind of structure where you have your upline leader, so you know where to expect some kind of feedback. And then one of the things we do right now is that we're trying to form some kind of, you could say, emerging leader type of setting, and put a little extra effort into that. And I would like to see that happen now. So maybe do that every quarter. Put some great speakers in and do all the classic stuff, you know, on, like, you know, here are 10 points on, and then have a conversation on it. Because I think that is also something that is really needed when you look at Gen Y or whatever we call them nowadays. You know, that it's, if they are, I mean, they're much. We've spoken earlier on this authenticity. You know, they're much for authenticity and want church to be authentic, and church to be more like the boutique type of church. You know, close. And I'm maybe more connected with the early generations that big is beautiful. You know, and come on, let's take the world for Christ. You know, and it's about me and the group and the settings, and still they struggle with image. Everything needs to be culturally relevant in a way that you fit in, and the breakdowns they have, and the mess they have with, you know, the inner person struggling, doesn't really commute with that. I mean, for me, it doesn't really compute with the thing that, you know, you want the authenticity and the small and the relational and all that, you know, really close, but still you're so uncertain.
Yeah.
Because it's all about image. And for me, you know, I think that it is a dysfunctional, that connection is not good. I think we need to find ways of, okay, let's be honest here, let's be real, but we have also a historical church that has come up with some great things that actually work. It's been working for 2,000 years. And let's stick to those kind of clear basic values, because values, they frame your future. What we value creates something in the future. You know, if we honor that, that is what we get. So we want to help people, and I think the strategy is coming back to a setting where we can kind of have a conversation on it more than ever.
Very good.
Yeah, really good.
I've been thinking through this question, you know, as we think about sort of longevity in leadership. When is a good time, do you think, for leaders to be thinking about transition? We don't want to put you on the spot or anything like that. You know, obviously you're 57. You know, 57 years young. Let's put that in there.
You're my best
friend.
But
just to help leaders, because I think a lot of churches have struggled over the years, haven't they, with good transitions. What would you say into that, really, for us?
In our age?
Your age?
In our age,
in your age?
Should absolutely.
That's your answer then.
I think they should absolutely think about it when you're in your late 50s. And try to get some kind of plan up, at least in your a mental plan. Some kind of game plan in your mind. You know, where you're kind of the next 10. Because in 10 years you're closing. Instead of closing 60, you're closing 70, and you have to have that set then. And maybe you have even transitioned then. Okay, and as we are founding pastors, maybe we have transitioned, but we're still on sometimes doing some of the stuff that we, you know. So, okay, what is that, a third of the time? Okay, so let's say that we're going to go parallel for some time, which means that, okay, if I take these 10 years, say 1/3 of the time is for me now to find out the solution, or for us to kind of find out what's going to be, and then present that in a way that is acceptable and people can embrace.
Nice.
And then you go parallel for a while, and then you do the last third somehow,
It's a good process, that.
And then after that. Post 70 or whatever, you can do whatever you want, you know, and afterglow, and there are some important, I think, factors to it. Health, energy. Are you excited about it? There could also be new challenges. There could also be new ventures. Some people, they've done their greatest things post 70.
But we do talk a lot about it, so we have a plan, so to speak. But as we all know, life can change. But we have a plan as it is now. But you never know, in 5 years, it can change tomorrow. And we even speak about, if something happens to us, you never know with life. So we will just survive and thrive anyway.
Find a way.
We will find a way. We will find a way. So we do have a plan as life is now, and then we'll see how life is in 10 years. But
I also feel that, you know, there are many who kind of plan in a way that it's for them to bail out. I don't like that either. No. Because but you got to stay hungry. And if you're not hungry for more, maybe you need to have a bit of a conversation on that too. What can you change that breeds that energy? But there is a fact that this body has some mileage on it, and it's not a new body. Eventually, I will get one. But it has some mileage on it, and it can only do so much compared to when I was 20, 25. But my intellect is maybe on its prime.
Yeah, that's the key.
And my maturity and my wisdom is probably peaking.
Yeah.
And it could even keep on doing that as long as I'm intellectually sane.
Vintage, the vintage model.
Yeah.
Huh?
Secondhand. But that's why you feel like when you're in our age, like you want to help people thrive in ministry. How can we help you? You're going through something in your marriage, with your kids, or in church, with your work, whatever. Hey, give us a call, and we can help you. That's why I want to do even more. And if I have that feeling now, I think I'm going to have that feeling even more in 10 years. I don't want to say thank you and goodbye. My father is still alive. He's been in church.
Wow.
He's 91. He's been saved for more than 70 years in the same church. He was an elder for 54 years. He was a Sunday school teacher for 42 years.
Wow.
And he's, I want to be like him. It's like, what is that generation now? I want to be like that. And
long haul, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
And I'm also a firm believer in like reverse mentors. You know, if you're like our age, you need those guys who are 20, 30.
Definitely.
Okay, what's going on right now? Have I misinterpreted, what's going on right now? Because it can, something.
Why are my jokes not funny anymore?
It's not only the dad jokes, but it's like the granddad jokes now.
But sometimes if we had our youth group in our house actually a few weeks ago, and if you understand what I'm saying, it's like our titles and our age is like scare them a little bit. It's like I can't, talk in a way. Like I'm the same with a 15-year-old. It just our kids are 34 or 32. It's like doesn't happen. I can be nice, but we can't communicate.
It's like Sunday in church, and the sound is bad or something like that, and you just go down and you see a guy who's 16 years old is running the PA system, and the gap is too big. So you gotta learn how to run with your coworkers more.
That's good.
And learn that.
That's good.
And learn that. No, it's not that he doesn't respect you, or it's not that I don't respect him. It's just that it just gets a little awkward. So I mean, my words are mostly nowadays, good work. And then I go somewhere else.
Can you sort us out now?
Conversation on it, let's kill the sound engineer and believe for resurrection life tomorrow.
But it's a great insight and a great point because it is understanding
the gap is too
understanding
big.
the gap, isn't it?
Yeah.
And and working out what they need to do.
And we're talking about transition, and we're thinking, when transition, you're leading church, now you're not. But I guess throughout life, there are lots of transitions.
Absolutely.
It is.
In terms of what you're explaining, there's a transition from I was leading in my 30s to now I'm leading in my 50s.
Yeah.
There's a transition between that. There's a transition from I'm leading, it's just one church to I'm leading campuses now, and it's a different transition, and you go to different levels, and I guess people have to understand that. But then
there is a bit of a challenge with this thing about age, because I still love hanging out with teenagers. I absolutely love the conversations. I love the dynamics of it. But some things has passed, and it's. But I do love it. There's nothing more powerful than to see like a 17-year-old just start believing, start going for it. I think it can rock the world, of course, look at a family. If somebody who's been living the wild life, and suddenly comes home and it's got transformed by Christ, it's just like the whole family is changed. The dynamics is so beautiful. So
we just
I love you, sound engineers. I love all of you. I love you. You're the best.
Especially those in life church.
A couple of months ago, we had a baptism with a young man, maybe 17 or 18, and he got really saved. And then he said, and his father came along, and he said, a year ago, this young teenager, the son of mine, he was on drugs.
Wow.
And And it's like you just cry. Yeah, it's been such a big change, of course. And he's a testimony for his whole. And now he's in school. I know he's out with his friends sometimes, even now, like 3 o'clock in the morning. But now I know where he is.
Yeah.
He comes home sober, and I mean, you understand. It's like wow, and that is. You know,
powerful.
being the best part of being a pastor. It's beautiful.
It's all the good bits, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
And then when they say, "Oh, I want to go to Bible college. I want to become a pastor. I want to become like you." And he's like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
Hold on, now. It's only one of me.
Yeah.
No, great stuff. I mean, it's been brilliant to have you guys on the show.
Thank you.
We've made you cry. We did a lot of our guests.
made you laugh.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But it's been brilliant to have you. Just thinking of the
Thank
long
you.
haul, and I guess we want to honour you guys as well for the journey you've been on.
Thank you.
For all the hours you've put in, conversations you've had behind the scenes that no one knows about. You know, there's something about just celebrating and cheering you on as well.
Thank you.
But to finish on a more upbeat, we're not left crying.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of quick fire
fire
questions.
Yep.
Just for a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You take the
So
first one.
what are you most excited about at the moment?
Well, we're at Icon Church now,
Yes.
and we're going to do the weekend here and a conference this week. Ground level conference. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I agree. It's such an honor to be here and talking to you guys.
Can't
Thank you
wait.
for having us.
No, amazing.
Pleasure. Okay, next one.
It's you, Dave. It's
sorry
quick
about
fire,
that.
mate. It's
Forget
quick fire.
about that.
Is it slow fire?
Yeah, it's slow fire. Yeah. What are you most challenged about at the moment?
Most challenged.
Icon conference? No.
No, what's challenging right now?
I think, well, if you're real, you know, it's to kind of train more leaders.
Trainers.
It's a big challenge right now. So we're in the middle of a real conversation.
Wow.
Great.
I like that.
Awesome. We're going to ask for your top 2 book recommendations and why. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to do one each.
Yeah.
One each and why. And we're not accepting the Bible. No, we love the Bible.
Yeah.
But
we're taking that for
we're taking that
Yeah.
for granted.
I read a really good book just a few years ago. If you're going through some hard stuff, it's called "Forgiving What You Can't Forget," and I don't know right now the author. I don't remember it because, but the title is "Forgiving What You Can't Forget," and it's really hard to find the book.
Yeah.
So if you get a copy, buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gold in there, and the woman, it's a woman who wrote it, and she really knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
So forgiving what you can't forget.
Yeah.
Well, I put on my reading list now the story of the Israeli Prime Minister. It's called Bibi.
Okay.
And I've heard it's going to be great. So maybe understanding something right now, what's going on down there in Israel, so, I mean, it's a fighter type of personality. So, no matter if you like him or not, I'm going to read that one.
Okay. Something about keep going then. Yeah. And our final question, changing it up a little bit. What's your favourite food? And I was going to say why, but that's not really a question. No. What's your favourite food?
I would say fish. I brought up on fish.
Any type?
A very good fish.
Smoked salmon.
Smoked salmon is good.
A little bit of rye bread.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's my.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, like a good porterhouse steak. A good steak.
We're talking.
Thick.
Oh, I feel hungry now.
Medium rare.
That sounds right.
With some good potatoes and some good gravy.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we should finish now.
Yeah. We are finishing
We are wrapping up
right now.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
PJ and Ulrica, a big thank you.
You are the best. You are the best. Best podcast in the world.
It's been so great to have you on the Church Explained podcast. And I just want to thank everyone for listening. And remember, wherever you are consuming this content, then share, subscribe, share it with someone you know that it will bless them as well. And also, don't forget, you can head over to icon.church/open for a load of free resources for yourself as a leader, but also for your church. But we look forward to seeing you next time on the Church Explained podcast.